one but two pregnancies raised a number of questions about the racial dimensions of prematurity and the technologies used to save premature infants born to Black women. Ashley felt that doctors had misdiagnosed issues that arose during her pregnancy and that racism had something to do with the care she received. I began to wonder what other women, especially women of color, thought and felt about giving birth prematurely, and what role they believed race and racism played in their pregnancy, their treatment, and the admission of their children into the NICU. After hearing Ashley's story, I found myself remembering my own pregnancy, which I had not thought about in many years. Similar to Ashley, I had become pregnant when I was in college. In 1980, like Ashley, I too was single and working for hourly wages at the Maya Gallery in Washington, D.C. On the top floor of a beautiful brownstone in the moderately renovated hot attic, I framed pictures. I also organized events, such as when Olabisi Olaniyi, the wife of the famous Yoruba modernist artist Prince Twin 77, exhibited her work at the gallery. Within my remembrance of my own birth story are many of the themes and threads about Black women, race, and prematurity that are the focus of this book. My birth story. Being near broke, which is not the same as being impoverished, forced me to identify resources that would facilitate the birth of the baby whom I wanted so badly. Although not a Seventh-day Adventist, I applied for and was admitted to a hospital-based clinic program for low-income women at the Seventh-day Adventist Hospital in Tacoma Park, Maryland. The arrangement required making monthly payments to cover the cost, which I recall was $700, based on a normal full-term vaginal delivery, or about $2,000 in 2018 dollars. One morning in the spring of 1980, in my second trimester, I woke up bleeding. Scared, I made an appointment at the clinic. I had an ultrasound, the only one I received during my pregnancy. After consulting with the technician, the obstetrician, who was a white male, came into the examining room and told me it looked like I might be having twins and that one was a girl, which was good because girl babies are strong. From the sound of his voice, which was foreboding, I assumed that I might lose the twins. After all, why would he say girl babies are strong? He asked what I did for a living, and I said I framed pictures and organized exhibits. He also asked a number of questions about my educational status, family background, and marital status. In retrospect, I do not think he was actually interested in me as a person. In fact, I thought his questions were condescending, in part because it seemed as if he was trying to find within my narrative a stereotypical thread about the young-looking 22-year-old Black woman who sat before him. That is how I would characterize the doctor's questions, predicated on assumptions that my family or I were potentially pathological from his perspective. My perception was that he was judging me based on ideas nourished by my race, my age, and the fact that I needed charity care. There was nothing in particular about what he said, but there was something about his tone and how he asked questions. I was just uncertain that he was not insinuating something based on his questions. Frankly, that interaction made me feel like I did not want to see him again, which was not a problem, since in the clinic I rarely saw the same doctor twice. His final warning to me was that I should be on bed rest for a month, or I could lose the twins or go into premature labor. After leaving the doctor's office, I went to see the social worker assigned to my case. What assigned really meant was that she wanted to ensure that I made my payments. At least, that was what I surmised. When I arrived at her office, we discussed what would happen if I had a premature birth, and the social worker informed me that my final payment would skyrocket. That was her primary focus, skyrocketing payments. I resented the entire conversation. Prematurity is scary, and no one is really ever prepared. I have no recollection of ever being informed why I was bleeding, what it meant to have a premature infant, what the circumstances were that could precipitate such a turning point in my pregnancy, or the consequences either for me or for the babies. My fears were not centered on the possibility that a neonatal care unit was in my future, because at the time I did not really know what that was. What concerned me more was losing the babies and the possibility.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.